안녕하세요. 실리콘밸리의 비유를 진행하고 있는 매일경제 신현규 실리콘밸리 특파원입니다. 네, 오늘 말씀드릴 회사는 유니티라고 하는 회사입니다. 네, 유니티, 메타버스의 중심주인데요. 티커로는 U라고 찾으시면 됩니다. 서학개미분들은 U라고 찾으시면 될 것 같고요. 최근 이 회사 주가가 1년 새 한 2배 정도 올랐어요. 네, 그래서 이 회사의 그 CEO분을 한번 인터뷰를 해봤습니다. 네. 지난해에 이어서 두 번째로 인터뷰를 한 거긴 한데, 지난해 인터뷰한 영상이 궁금하시면 제가 밑에 링크를 달아 놓겠습니다. 참조해 주시기 바라고요. 이번 인터뷰에서 흥미로운 포인트 한 세 가지 정도를 건진 것 같아요. 1번, 메타버스의 실사례를 굉장히 많이 소개를 해주셨습니다. 식당에서 밥을 먹을 때 친구들하고 같이 가상세계에서 밥을 먹을 수 있는 솔루션, 또는 거실에 앉아서 옷을 입어보고 마음에 드는 옷을 고를 수 있는 그런 솔루션, 그런 여러 가지 사례들을 소개시켜 주셨어요. 그리고 또 한 가지 중요한 메시지를 주셨는데, 메타버스의 기술은 우리가 개발을 여러 가지 하고 있는 걸로 알고 있고, 아주 먼 미래의 이야기처럼 언론지상에는 많이 이야기가 되고 있는데, 그거 아니다. 메타버스는 이미 와 있다. 정신 차려라. 이런 이야기들을 해주셨고요. 그 다음에 유니티 같은 경우는 최고의 메타버스 컨텐츠 제작 플랫폼으로 이미 자리매김하고 있다. 이런 메시지를 주셨습니다. 그럼 바로 시작해 보겠습니다.
And then, yeah, I was so excited about the announcement today. What that was big, I guess. My two favorite brands came together. I mean, the Weta and Unity. Wow, that was big. So I got so excited. So yeah, I want to know more about the thoughts and ideas behind that marriage. Also, I would like to listen to the longer term visions for the combination, as I think this would mean a lot to investors who consider the longer term investment commitment to the future of the Unity. So how was the deal firstly initiated, and how the wedding procedure went? And I want to listen to those kind of stuffs. And congratulations.
Thank you. I'm really proud of the deal. It's an amazing set of tools and an amazing company. Look, we've been talking to them for almost a year to try to figure something out, what made sense. This is what we ultimately concluded made the most sense. In terms of, this has been my world for a long time, so I'm not even sure where it starts or finishes. Back when, before Peter made the first Lord of the Rings movies, when he announced he had a New Line deal, I was the president of Electronic Arts back then. And I approached New Line, Warner, Saul Zaentz, who had the rights to Lord of the Rings, and put together the Lord of the Rings games. And at that time, I ran into the people that made the tools for Golem and for Ringwraiths and for other stuff in Lord of the Rings. So this has been the world I live in, and I'm also on the USC Film School board since 2008. Okay. This is people like that are on that board are Steven Spielberg and George Lucas and Jeffrey Katzenberg and whatever. So it's a lot of people in that world. So I've been living in this world for, maybe as long as a couple of your colleagues have been alive. I've been doing this. So so when we first met, it's hard to decide what the first meeting means here. Yeah, so it's been my world and Unity's world for a long time.
Right. But I really would like to know the longer term vision, because Weta is, from my sense, is a content producing company, and Unity is like a platform, right? So those I couldn't really make sense.
There's two parts to Weta. Okay, so
right, okay.
Weta has, when we close the deal, there'll be two Wetas. The Wetas that makes the tools and the engineers that make those tools.
Right,
and we're going to bring those tools onto the Unity platform.
Right.
There's 16, 1,700 people that use those tools to make special effects for Avatar and Marvel movies and Disney movies and Star Wars and all that. They're going to continue to do that. That's not Unity.
Right.
We're going to supply that special effects company with tools and engineering.
Got it.
So we're separating, because I don't think that Unity is a high-tech, fast-moving company.
Right.
We don't spend 3 years making a movie. I don't think that's in our DNA.
Right.
So we're not going to do that.
Gotcha. And then from the Korean investors' perspective, since our readers, our audiences are mostly interested in investing in the Unity, and I sense that our Korean audiences pay lots of attention to the Unity, and they are actively asking questions about the future of the company. And I don't know you sense that or not, I sensed it or not. But I think the first question that I would encounter from our audience is that why the stock price dropped today 9%, and I want to bring a sort of a sense of longer term vision to them. So can you tell us where Unity is?
What's the question exactly? What was the
Oh
question?
yeah, so I would like to know the longer term vision of the Unity, especially when you announce the merge of the Weta. And I would like to explain to our audiences that even though the 9% drop of the today, it does not mean anything. It doesn't mean anything in the perspective of the longer term. So,
well, first off, the stock was up $6 today. Not down.
Oh, okay.
Now,
oh, my mistake. I'm really sorry about this. Wow. Okay.
So it's trading down on after hours. That doesn't really mean anything. After hours is when the exchange is closed. And people are trading 20 shares or 30 shares and trying to create stories out of it. The after hours market it's not hard. It's hard to interpret. Let's see what the stock opens in the morning. But to be honest with you, I don't really pay attention to the stock price every day. I'm building a company that I think is going to be one of the greatest companies in the history of time. And I'm building it with a long-term vision in mind and with a group of great people. And if the stock goes up or down on a given day, that doesn't mean a lot. It can, but I don't think it generally does. The trick is whether we're doing the right thing for the next 10 years, next 20 years.
Great. Yeah. So can you tell where Unity is located now at the longer term trajectory of exponential earnings growth?
Well, look, I think that like long term, we're focused on at some level on creating the most powerful content creation tools on earth and have as many people in the world use them as possible and make them easy to use. And so that's essentially the mission of the company. I believe that 3D content, true real-time 3D content, today 60% of the world's real-time 3D content is built in Unity across every industry. But we don't have enough artists doing that. And so this addresses that very specifically. And I believe that maybe 3 or 4% of the world's content today is real-time 3D. The rest of it's linear, or it's 2D or 2.5D, or it's not real-time. I think 3 or 4% becomes 50 by the end of this decade. Most of the world's content. And what I mean by that is within 2 years, instead of you going online to buy a shirt like this with a model, it'll be you fully rendered, exactly photorealism you in your living room, putting on the shirt. And you might, instead of going to all the different websites for the shirts will come to your living room and you will be shopping and putting it on you and seeing how it fits. A much better experience. That avatar of you will very likely be built in the tools we acquired today, right? And we'll be part of that. And we already have a product that's used this way called Forma. And so the vision for Unity is that I believe the metaverse is really Web 3.0. It's the web that we have today, but it's 3D, it's interactive, it's real-time, and it's spatially aware. I believe most of the world's commerce is going to take place on that platform over the course of the next several years. It's obviously moving in that direction really rapidly now. And we're going to be the leading platform for all the content that's created there, a leading platform for the operation of that business. And so that's what we're building.
Yeah, so from my point of view, Unity has always been at the center of the 3D virtual world, and suddenly the big players like Facebook, they changed their name to the Meta, and then in the market, and that they now they are saying that they will become the king of the metaverse, right? So last year you talked a little bit about the concept of the metaverse, and you explained the concept, and you said that the continuity and openness are the most crucial part. And I think that was tremendous insight. So at this point, I really want to dig into your perspective or take on the recent sound of the metaverse in the market.
I mean, for the metaverse, look, we've been talking about real-time 3D, interactive, spatially aware. That's essentially what the metaverse is.
Right.
And for it to come together, you need CPUs and GPUs and buses on computers and transport networks and 5G and the rest of it to work. That precondition is met now. The underlying infrastructure makes the metaverse possible. The second thing you need is a boatload of investment from companies like Microsoft and Facebook, Google and Apple, and Tencent and Samsung and others to enable this. We need tens and tens and hundreds of billions, maybe $1 trillion over time. And then in that world, we don't aspire to be the hardware company where all that investment is going to be. We aspire to be the content platform. And so we're building our part, and Weta is part of that. And I'm thrilled that companies like Facebook and Microsoft and others are making big announcements of how much capital they're committed to realizing it. We were kind of, in a way, a little bit alone a year ago when we wrote our S1 and said we believe that all this content is going to be real-time 3D interactive across all industries. And then suddenly the meme of metaverse caught hold. It's exactly what we were describing, but it's a meme, and it's a great meme because it's sort of, I think it's resulted in a meeting of the minds of all the major tech companies that they have to invest behind it. And we always needed that. We used to have to push them. Now they're already there. So I feel like it's generally a good thing.
What about the competition? I would like to know more about your opinion on the competition, because since the metaverse is a big thing, lots of entrants will be coming into the market. So how would you, cope with the competition?
So, I mean, look, I think, first off, competition in Korea is a little different than it is almost anywhere else in the world. So in mobile, global average, we have a higher than a 70 share. On platforms like HoloLens, over a 90 share. Even on PC, it's over a 60 share. And on console, about close to half. And so in Korea, a lot more companies build their own engines, and there's more Unreal in Korea. They've had a very strong business in Korea for a long time. But Korea is an unusual market in that regard. But then the second thing is that on a world average, 70% of mobile is in Unity. The most important platform by far is mobile. Our nearest competitor is less than 0.5%. So competition on the engine side. Now look, I think Unreal, I like Tim Sweeney. He's a friend.
Okay. Yeah.
I think he's an unbelievably cool guy. I like him a lot. And he's a customer. They actually make more games in Unity than they do Unreal.
Wow, didn't know that. Okay.
But all the companies they bought are built in Unity. And so all the game companies they bought. I think of him as a partner in many ways. It's, for some people in the press, he's a competitor, but not so much. But they make the most successful game in the history of time. I'm incredibly impressed by the success of Fortnite. And his vision behind Fortnite is unbelievable. What they're going after. So I'm a big fan of Epic and Tim. And I hope to win more of his business.
So when the internet started, everybody tried to make their own, products such as web browsers, and the other companies tried to, run the operating system for the internet. So I would like to know where Unity want to be located in the dawn of, metaverse era.
So look, I think that one way to think about the metaverse is that there's going to be a lot of hardware platforms, better tablets. M1 chips will be part of like the Apple family, but a lot of hardware. Major and important companies are like NVIDIA is a really important company here. Jensen has done an amazing job with NVIDIA. AMD is going to be a big company. Intel is going to be a big company. Obviously, Facebook has hardware now, and Apple is the leading hardware company in the world today. Samsung is big. So there's going to be, and they're all going to have their own take on the metaverse and the devices that will let you best participate in the metaverse. That's going to be a very, very, very big industry. Now, once you've got the hardware, you want to create content for it. You're going to want to create real-time 3D applications, websites, games, worlds, universes. And I think Unity is already the market-leading content platform and content creation platform in the metaverse already. Metaverse is just coming to be, but as we come through that, we're by far the leading player for that. Now, the next category is there's a bunch of operate services. Operate services mean cable networks for transporting data, right? It means hosting like AWS or GCP. It means monetization, where Unity is the leader, at least in the game industry. Analytics, voice, toxicity, but there's many other services here. We're one of the leading players on hosting in the game industry through Multiply. We're the leading player in IAP analytics. We're the leading player in game analytics. We have a very large position in monetization. But here, that collection of services, there's hundreds of competitors with different focus areas. So I don't know how you'd say who the leader is and operate the same way you have it create, because it's likely to be in the hosting area. Well, I guess that's AWS is probably going to be the market leader, but they're not going to participate at all in monetizing third-party applications. Okay, so I don't know how to think about that easily from a competitive landscape, but it's a lot of things. And then the next thing, and probably the most important thing, in my opinion at least, is the destinations. And I'll explain what I mean by a destination. Fortnite is a destination in the metaverse. World of Warcraft is the destination in the metaverse. Unity will have create platform for consumers that they'll access through the web. That'll be a destination in the metaverse. We're going to see that shopping site that I told you about. Someone will build out a universal shopper, maybe Amazon, maybe Alibaba, maybe someone else. That's going to get built. And that's where you're going to go to shop. And what you're going to be, a lot of things are going to be different, but a little bit the same. So like right now, you can still buy that shirt, but it would be better to buy it another way. And there's going to be literally millions of destinations. Games will be some, shopping will be some, other forms of entertainment, data around stock trading platforms will be different. And so there are going to be places that people go. And my sense is that I can come up with other categories, but one easy way to think about it is all the hardware, creation, operation, destinations. And Epic, by way of example, is mostly a destination. Roblox is 100% a destination.
Destination, yes.
Minecraft is a destination.
Destination, yeah.
Amazon is a destination. But Amazon is very firmly Web 2.0, not Web 3.0 today.
Right.
But I bet they become more metaverse-like. And lots of retailers are using our tools to create more compelling content that will increasingly become more Web 3.0 metaverse. So hardware, creation, operation, destinations. But destinations, there's going to be millions of them. And, you know, your classroom. If you read the Oasis, right, you would go to class, right, in the Oasis or the metaverse. And so there'll be like, I'm willing to bet that, like, I don't know, Harvard will be a destination. And so my sense is all of these things will live, and there'll be lots of competition in the destinations. We just want to make sure they all create and operate on top of Unity.
Okay. And then when we talk about the operation, do you have some new areas that you are interested in expanding? Like you mentioned a little bit about, you know, game analytics. So you said that analytics will be
the biggest things we do here are analytics and AI around understanding the market. We are hosting with Multiply. Evox is our voice solution, and we have a toxicity solution now for chat and voice. And then monetization, and then in-app purchase management. So those are tools we provide at very high scale in our marketplace.
So can I say that Unity will be more like an operation-based company in the era of metaverse?
No, I think we're going to be a creation platform. We put creators. We're going to be an operations company. And then we're also going to have consumer destinations for people that want to create for everything from TikTok to Instagram, but 3D using tools like Weta.
Okay. Wow, this is amazing, I guess. Wow, yeah. So let me ask this question then. Last time we had an interview that you said you laid out a couple of numbers and evidences why 3D is at the inflection point. And you said that 2023 could be the big year for the VR and the AR. And then because you explained that 1 million of developers will be using Unity to build their own 3D world. So I'm interested in the metrics that could show us how the 3D industry is growing and is.
First off, all games are 3D. Just because
Right.
all games are 3D. Right. The difference is they're viewed by a consumer in a 3D device or off a 2D flat screen. Mm. But if you're playing, Maple Story, that's 3D. If you're playing
Maple Story.
I guess when I talked to Owen a couple of days ago.
Okay.
But I've worked with Owen for 2 decades. I love Owen. But so look, I think it's already 3D in the gaming industry, right. And more things are going to be 3D. But some of these things, from a user experience perspective, will be better with a 3D device. Mm. I don't think we know which things are going to be better with a 3D device. I personally prefer gaming on a console. But that we showed Metacast recently. Have you seen Peter Moore and Unity Metacast?
I'm sorry, I haven't really had the chance.
You should look at some of what's on, nodding her head, but we put a couple hundred cameras in a stadium, and I can put a sports event on your dining room table in full 3D. If you're wearing an AR, VR device, or it's incredible on a tablet. Full 3D, volumetric, you can go anywhere in the scene. If you want, you can put your camera on the ball or the player's nose, on a fist and the goalie. You can watch replays anytime you want, when you want, exactly where you want, placing the camera anywhere you want. It's absolutely incredible.
Wow.
And, that's one new Unity product. That what we're doing there is we're ingesting data from IoTs, in this case, cameras. We're bringing that together in the cloud, creating a 3D mesh and a 3D volumetric presentation back, and then giving you controls for how you consume it. Wow.
So you mentioned, last year, I remember that you mentioned that the metaverse will be more crispier than cartoon-like or toy-like animated 3D world. And you mentioned that more crispier metaverse will be coming.
So here's a perfect example. Okay. If you watch the Giants in Korea, on television with a regular broadcast, we have no control at all. That's not the metaverse, that's TV.
Right.
Okay. If you watch that same thing from Unity Metacast, you could stand on second base and watch the game from there, or on first base, or put your camera in the eyes of the pitcher or the batter or the first baseman or the outfielder, and be anywhere you want, whenever you want, and go backwards and forwards in the moment in real time. You could stand where the umpire is and call balls and strikes. That's the metaverse, especially if you can be there in real time with your friends, conversing with your friends, sitting in the infield. Okay, so that's a really different experience. Right, Unity can make that happen now.
Oh, okay. So right now, most of the people think that metaverse is like on Roblox or the Fortnite, and it's like on 3D games or 3D animated cartoons. But when do you think that, like you mentioned, the crispier metaverse thing will be really a big thing?
Yeah, I just think it's like the thing about the metaverse. I don't think it's one of those things that says there's no metaverse and then there's a metaverse.
Okay.
I think inch by inch, more applications are going to become like games and being 3D in real time. But another component is spatially aware. So imagine you're wearing glasses like hero protagonist in Snow Crash. When you look at a restaurant. If you're by yourself and it's noon and the restaurant doesn't open for anything but dinner, nothing happens.
Right.
But if you look at it and it's dinner time and it knows it's dinner time and it knows you're with your friend, and it pops up the menu and the last time we were there and how much it costs and if there's friends inside. Now I've suddenly got a launcher on my glasses, and you're participating in the metaverse. And everything I just said is possible now.
Now, okay.
So the question is, when does all that come together? And it's going to come in pieces.
So are there any hurdles? I mean, you said that software and the contents are already there, but I believe that the hardware is not really there. So Do you think that?
Well, I think the hardware is more there than you imagine. What I just described with the right software application, you could do in HoloLens.
Oh, okay.
And you can do it with almost any XR, AR device, and
Mm.
some VR devices that have got externally focused cameras.